Memorizing vocabulary efficiently. Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to memorize vocabulary words using my 3S system, which I developed and used to memorize 2,000 vocabulary words for the SAT. 3S stands for Synonym, Sync, Say. First, go to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary webpage. I'm going to demonstrate my 3S system with a word diagram. So we have here diagram. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I know how to pronounce the word. And Merriam-Webster has a pronunciation function here.
Diagram, 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 diagram.
So I listen to the pronunciation. I make sure that I can also pronounce it, diagram. I look at the word spelling, diagram, D-I-A-G-R-A-M, diagram.
Diagram, diagram, diagram.
Okay, so I read the definition here, a graphic design that explains rather than represents, especially a drawing that shows arrangement and relations as of parts. So, keywords in the definition, graphic design, explains, drawing, arrangement, relationships. Okay, definition 2, diagram, a line drawing made for mathematical or scientific purposes. Keyword here, drawing. Graphic design, drawing. Okay. So then I look at the synonyms, and that's the first S in the in my 3S system, synonyms. So if you go to the definition page for diagram, this is the dictionary page for diagram. Underneath the pronunciation, they have a link to synonyms, which goes to their thesaurus, which has a list of synonyms. So we have here a diagram, and it highlights the different synonyms and similar words to diagram. And if it's bright orange, that means it's very close in meaning. So diagram, close words are illustration, graphic, and visual. Then I look here, drawing, image, picture, plate, figure, caption, artwork. And then the lighter colors are what Merriam-Webster considers to be less relevant to the definition. So what I do here first is this. Pick the one word that is the best synonym or the best synonym that you like for the word diagram. So here I actually like the word drawing because drawing actually shows up in the definitions here too. Look, diagram, drawing. So first pick the number one word, drawing. So we got diagram, which is keyword. And then I picked one synonym. And make sure you know how to pronounce the synonyms too. And then Merriam-Webster allows you to open up any of the synonyms into its own definition. Here, this is to get to the pronunciation, you have to go to the definitions, but then you can then
drawing,
you can listen to the pronunciation. So you being able to pronounce it is very important. So in the first phase, I picked drawing. Excellent synonym here. And then what you're going to do is this. So I have diagram and drawing. So now I'm prepared to implement the 3S system. So we have the synonym. I know how to say it. And then Here, I actually typed it out and visualized it. You could also do it on a flashcard, but I want to demonstrate this to you here. So I have the two words together. What you want to do is is to say these two words in one continuous flow. So, for example, diagram drawing, diagram drawing, diagram drawing, diagram drawing, diagram drawing, diagram drawing. So I would have to say you want to do at least 2 repetitions of the same. But you can do 3 and 3. Diagram drawing, diagram drawing, diagram drawing. What's important is that it has to be all in one flow. Okay, so now we did that with one synonym. So let's look for, and actually that's good enough. But if we want to add on to it, what are some other good synonyms here? So drawing's good. Let's say illustration, graphic design. I'm going to put graphic design, illustration. Let's pick illustration. Or how about graphic design? Anyway, so I'm going to pick, maybe that, okay, let's pick, well, let's go do with illustration. Okay, so illustration. And make sure you know how to pronounce that word too. So in the next round, so the next round, I'm adding the third word, diagram, drawing, illustration. So I've gone from one synonym to 2 synonyms, so now we have 3 words. I know how to pronounce all the words, and I'm going to say it all in one flow. Okay? And also, to get maximum effect, it actually helps to see the words. So you can do it on a flashcard or you can type it out. But the saying of it's the most important. So here we go. Diagram, drawing, illustration. 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 And then you can keep adding synonyms if you would like. Now the advantage of adding more synonyms is because if you're trying to learn a large set or a large number of vocabulary words, for example, for the SAT, I memorized 2,000 vocabulary words for the SAT, which greatly improved my verbal score. The more synonyms that vocabulary is the words in the English language, many of the words have similar meanings to each other. So the more synonyms that you create, you can create more connections. So diagram, drawing, illustration. Diagram, drawing, illustration. Now, one thing too is the brain that likes to memorize things in chunks of 3 or less. So would I add a 4th one? I would actually probably do it like this. Let's say I want to do graphic design. I would actually, so the reason why I like drawing a lot, so what I'm going to do is, and the brain likes the number 3, so if you want to do a 4th synonym, instead of adding it to illustration, you could just do you drop the illustration, and then you do diagram, drawing, then graphic. So here we go. And make sure you know how to pronounce all the words. Diagram, drawing, graphic. Diagram, drawing, graphic. Diagram, drawing, graphic. Now another alternative is just do groups of 2. Diagram, drawing, diagram, drawing. Diagram, illustration, diagram, illustration, diagram, illustration. Diagram, graphic, diagram, graphic, diagram, graphic. But again, the word that you're always keeping is diagram. So synonym, sync, and then say. And when you recite it, you want to do it in all incomplete words. Now, additional things to do to improve the understanding of the words is you want to look at the example sentences. And so here, Merriam-Webster will have example sentences. Well, this is for the verb diagram, which is to diagram or to draw a diagram. And so here it goes, sample sentence, diagram of football play. Example sentences, a diagram of the nervous system. This diagram shows how the clock operates. The coach diagrammed the new play on the backboard. The students were required to diagram a sentence. And then they even have here recent examples on the internet web. Topics are explained through charts, diagrams, photographs, art, and video monitors. So reading the sentence helps give context and comprehension of the words. I'd also like to emphasize that it also helps to spell the words. So you could do it two ways. You can say it, so diagram, D-I-A-G-R-A-M. You can then handwrite it on a piece of paper. Handwriting is a physical movement, and handwriting, especially if you write it in a neat, deliberate way, is another way you can learn the word. Make sure you know how to pronounce the words. Again,
diagram, diagram, diagram.
Listen to it.
Diagram, diagram.
And when I do this, I also actually stare at the word.
Diagram, diagram.
And then I say it, diagram, diagram. Now, what I say, whenever you do repetitions, at least do 2 repetitions. Three's good. Beyond that, you need to take a break and move on to another chunk. I also want to emphasize that it's very important to repeat, because in order to, for the purposes of language, you want to do, it has to ultimately go into the long-term memory, motor memory, or muscle memory. So language is language, reading, and listening, and hearing, all the parts of language ultimately to be fluid in it, or fluent. It needs to develop muscle memory, and you develop muscle memory through repetition and actually doing it, being active participant, which goes to recitation. Recitation is writing, speaking. Now, let me give you another concept. I call it a concept of training wheels. Training wheels is in the beginning when I'm looking at the word diagram. For example, here, let's say diagram, drawing, illustration, diagram, drawing, illustration, diagram, drawing, illustration. In the beginning, it's actually good to look at the words, but you want to ultimately be able to do what I call no-look recitation. No-look recitation is where you close your eyes or you look away, and then you can recite it. Okay, so I'm going to close my eyes now. Diagram, drawing, illustration, diagram, drawing, illustration, diagram, drawing, illustration. And actually, when I close my eyes, I try to imagine the words in my brain. If you can recite the word with, or recite your subject matter without looking, then you've mastered it. Diagram, drawing, illustration. So if someone said to me, "Well, how do you define diagram?" Well, I'd say, "Well, the synonyms are diagram, drawing, illustration." So then you use these synonyms to then launch off in a definition. Well, it's a diagram, usually like a chart where you're showing relationships and connections, an illustration, and typographic design. Okay, so now let me give you a scenario that comes up occasionally. Occasionally what's going to happen is you're going to come across a word where there's not a good synonym. And actually, interestingly, synonym is an example. So I go to the word synonym.
Synonym, synonym, synonym.
I listen to the sound. I say it, synonym. Make sure I know how to spell it, S-Y-N-O-N-Y-M. So you don't need to memorize the spelling. I mean, it's not a spelling bee. But you can just read along, S-Y-N-O-N-Y-M. So I'm going to look at the synonyms of synonym. So I'm looking at the synonyms, and I didn't like any of these synonyms of synonym. Copy, analog, duplicate, replica, carbon copy, analog, counterpart. These do not represent the most frequent use of the word synonym. I'm like, okay, so what do we do here? So look at the definition and extract the key words. So synonyms, definition is one of two or more words or expressions of the same language that have the same or nearly the same meaning in all senses. Definition 2, a word or phrase that by association is held to embody something such as a concept or quality. Okay, that's not relevant. So only definition 1 is relevant. And then within definition 1, this same meaning keyword is perfect. So this is how I would do it. So synonym, the synonym's a synonym, nothing I like. There's no synonyms in the source that I like. But I like this keyword in the definition. So how would I memorize this? Here we go. If I have to pick one word, it's going to be same. So always look to try to find the best word. Same. Synonym same. Synonym same. Synonym same. Okay. The keyword same is enough for your brain to remember and to anchor, and then you can say, well, what is synonym? Well, it's same. Same what? Same meaning. So I would actually do this. Synonym, same meaning. Synonym, same meaning. Same meaning, synonym. Same meaning, synonym. And you can move things around. Synonym, same meaning. Synonym, same meaning. Same meaning, synonym. Synonym, same. Synonym, same. Synonym, synonym, same. Synonym, same meaning. So if you cannot find good synonyms for your word, your vocabulary word, you can use keywords. You can also do both. So there's been words that I've come across where I like several synonyms. I also really like the keywords. So you do synonym, keyword, synonym, vocabulary word, keyword, vocabulary keyword, synonym, same, synonym, same. Okay. And here's the thing about it too. So if there's a multitude, let's say there's 5 synonyms that you think are useful. So actually, the more synonyms you learn, the better, because later on, when you're actually learning. If there's 5 synonyms, you're actually memorizing 5 synonyms all at the same time. So that increases efficiency. So let's say you can't memorize. You could do it as an exercise and try to do it in one continuous flow, the 5 synonyms. But as long as you link the synonym back to the vocabulary word, you're fine. So you can do diagram drawing, diagram drawing. You can do diagram illustration, diagram illustration. Diagram graphic, diagram graphic. Because what I'm doing here is the vocabulary word is diagram. Make sure you link back to that word. Now, if you're just looking at synonyms graphic, if there's no sync, you're not getting anything. You have to link with something in the brain. The brain needs linkages. So always go back to connectors. And you can do this whenever you're memorizing a long list. Let's say it's like a top 10 list. Top 10 list of best foods or best restaurants. And you're trying to, in the process of memorizing it, you can break it down to groups of 3, but always link back to restaurants. So you could say restaurants, In-N-Out, Chick-fil-A, In-N-Out, Chick-fil-A, Panera, and then there's another grouping, right? So you could do restaurant. So you could do In-N-Out, Chick-fil-A, Panera, but you have to link it back to the word. So you have to go restaurant, In-N-Out, Chick-fil-A, Panera. Restaurant, In-N-Out, Chick-fil-A, Panera. You always have to go back to the top tier word. You have to link back to it. So then let's say there is 3 more restaurants. Now that you've mastered that, you do the other ones, and then you link back. You could say Subway, Burger King, and McDonald's, right? But you have to say restaurants. So top 3 restaurants: Burger King, McDonald's, Subway. So always if you're just memorizing the items on the list, you're not getting the maximum memorization, because you always have to link back to the key concept or the key word. So in summary, synonym, sync, say, and you can also synonyms also includes keywords.